Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about something I saw the other day on a Facebook group. A lot of the things I see these days are on a Facebook group. You know, during this pandemic, and people are still staying at home. A lot of people lost their jobs and all this. And so a lot of things I see, you know, would be online. And this is a group I mentioned. I'll be mentioning in other videos. I've mentioned them on other channels, another channel, and YouTube channel. And this one, what they said, struck me. I've heard it before on TV. I've pretty much heard stuff like this my whole life, and I've actually experienced something very much like this. The same kind of restaurant, not the same location, but it's a chain restaurant. And I've said stuff about these kinds of things on videos. And the whole thing revolves around people who are these let me speak to the manager. And they put it in different ways, but basically it's, you know, they call them other people who do this, let me speak to the manager types. Okay, and I want to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about the situation that I actually saw this in. And I'm looking down at notes like this, so I've written some notes, so yeah, that's going to happen. Plus I have to look over here to turn it off and pause. So, okay. So a woman, I don't know her, I don't know everybody on there. I know some people on this Facebook group, and you know, I knew them in the past. And this woman, she was probably, I would think, she's around my age. And now she went to this one particular chain restaurant in the town there, and most of the people are from that town there. And she went there to get, you know, to a restaurant in a fast food, like I said. And now I'm not doing that during this pandemic. I still don't trust it enough, you know, with all the contaminants, you know, not all, but I don't want to get COVID-19. So I'm not trusting I'm cooking at home, but she didn't. She drove to this place, and what people, you know, people were responding and saying that they went past that fast food, you know, drive-through restaurant, and the people, I know it, and they said that the cars were outside lining up on the road past there. That would be pretty long. And so she said she went there and she got her order, had to wait in that long line, and she showed pictures. And she said, this is not what I ordered. What I got was not what I ordered. They were not paying attention, apparently, to give her the wrong order. And it looked like crap. I mean, and what she showed straight from it, looked like crap. Okay, now my experience, not at that location, like I said, was, and not during this pandemic, it was before, was what I got. I got actually what I ordered, but it was crap. It was so bad I had to call and complain. I mean, I felt sorry for myself and anybody else that ever got that. And I'd actually call them and ask them, why would you make something like that? And they said, that's how we're supposed to. And then I called their corporate office, and the corporate office says, no, they are not supposed to make it like that. It was doing something really cheap, and like the meat and the actual, you know, there's dough, you know, you can say it could be bread, tortillas, whatever. They were doubling up on it, so they didn't have to put hardly anything, actual meat or anything. They were trying to save money, okay? And they said, no, that should not be that way. And I am that type. I would say, yeah, these places need to know what's going on, and if you can't get it settled from them and they're saying that it's the corporate office, call the corporate office and ask. Okay, they need to be aware of what's going on, who's doing it, when it's happening, so if something's wrong, they can fix it. If they say, no, we're not doing that, they will fix it, and that will happen at times. Okay, I've seen it happen. And that's how I see it. It's not, the customer should not be paying for something they're not getting, and then what they're getting is all wrong and it's bad. No. Okay, and that's the whole frustration. You know, nobody's perfect, things like that happen, but when it does seem, even if it is an accident, somebody did make a mistake, and you get something else and it looks like crap, I mean, it looked bad. Yeah, you know, somebody needs to report it. They need to know what that customer and others possibly, they start adding up. Say, well, every time this person works, this is what happens. You see, so they know who to get rid of. Well, plenty of people need jobs, plenty of people who are actually going to be there when they're there. They're not, as I call it, texting somebody in their mind. So they're not paying attention. That's a customer. That's a person who comes there, waits in those long, long lines to get, taking that risk to get something, and they get home and it's crap. It's not what they ordered. Yeah, that should not be happening. But let me tell you about the responses this woman got. Okay, now, so basically wasn't, at first, she wasn't saying anything that was seriously, like, judgmental. She just said, she just told the story, and it was kind of short. She didn't give too many details. She said she went there, and she didn't say that about waiting in a long line. She just said, I went there, this is what I got, that's not what I ordered. What I ordered was this, and that they obviously weren't paying attention to it. Okay, now as that story unfolded and people started commenting, she let out that, that somebody else had said something about the long line. She said she couldn't go back, that she did call and complain, and they said, well, come back and get something new and get her actual order, and, they give it to her for free. Well, it's not really free when that's not what she ordered, when she already paid for it, for one. But like I said, the story was unfolding. Okay, the best I could tell is as soon as she posted it, posted just that short story with the pictures, some people started jumping on her. Now, not everybody, because not everybody thinks the same way. And so I kind of read all of them, and some people jumped on her and said that she shouldn't have said anything. I'm like, wow, some of them had this mentality, some of you might remember, of just lay down and take it. And whatever's thrown at you, just take it. And some people can say various things to that, but like I said, I think the management needs to know, because when you pay for something and you're having to go out of your way to do it and wait in a long line, stuff like that, anything, just going there, even if you didn't have to wait in a long line, people who are working should be paying attention, period. Okay, it's not her fault, none of that. But they were jumping on her, like her mentioning anything was bad. And I'm like, whoa, I felt for her. But I've known this. I've known this since I was young. There's some people who think that you should not complain about anything, anything. And like I said, management needs to know, so there's not other people this is happening. Think about, it could be anybody. It doesn't matter who it is, but just think about it. If it's like, apparently this woman, it's difficult for them, and this is a treat for them. It could be people who are on a fixed income, and right now some people might not have much of an income, and that's a treat for them, and they get it, and it's wrong order, or it's crap. Okay, so it's not her fault, but they were jumping on her. And let me look down my notes here. They were saying things like, well, they try to make it right. Is it their fault that because she said she couldn't go back at that time because it was raining, and it was going to be difficult for her to drive there in the rain. Okay, she says she doesn't drive in the rain at all. She stays at home. But they were still jumping on her about that, saying, well, that's your fault, that's your problem, that's your fault, that you can't go back and get it, and it's not theirs. And people were jumping on her, saying she should have never shown what she showed, the photos and all that. Part of my dog over here. He does this every once in a while. Okay, anyway, so they jumped on her about that, and she, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And some were saying, what do you think, they're going to deliver it to you? Well, these places often have delivery service. Yeah, and even if they don't, why does the customer have to, they told her to come back in. Well, think about that long line out through the street, people waiting. I think she finally said at that time she had waited for a really long time. She got in the line and got stuck in there. It was going so slow. Yeah, it's not her fault. No matter what, it's not her fault. And when they have these delivery services, hold on. Okay, when they often, my dog is old, it's just going to do it off and on anyway. But when they have these delivery services, that people come pick up and deliver, it's on them. It is on them. They need to pay for all of it and actually deliver it to her, because she already did what she needed to do to get that food, including pay for it. They make the mistake. It's on them. It's not on the customer when somebody makes a mistake. It's on them. And that seems to have been forgotten somewhere along the line. It's switched to, well, it's the customer's fault if they can't come back. The customer's already been there. The customer has already been there and did what they needed to do to get it. If you mess up, you fix it. You pay the price. But there's some confusion somewhere where the customer is beneath the people who work there. And there's just a total disconnect going on there. That is wrong. All kinds of wrong. Now, but think about the people. Now, let's kind of move on. And she's right. The woman was in the right, and all these other people who were jumping on her, they were definitely in the wrong. Okay, maybe they just haven't experienced it themselves. Maybe they're the type that they have to learn from their own experience. But then they'll say only they can complain because their situation was different and everybody else's. I tend to have noticed in my lifetime these are people who have a little bit of a narcissistic and a histrionic blend that I see so much in my life, all my life. And usually if it's not about them, it doesn't matter. And they're trolls too, a lot of trolls. If it's not about them, it doesn't matter. And they get a thrill. I add it together with the sadistic side, the narcissistic, histrionic, sadistic. I call it the dramatic dark triad. Not just the dark triad, that's something different, but the dramatic dark triad. That's what I call it. And they get a thrill out of that they can say something like that to somebody. But also my experience is some of these people were taught this for a purpose. Some people are just herd mentality, the collective narcissism, their side's right. And so anything that they were taught how to think, the mantra mentality, they were taught this is how you see things, this is what you say. Yeah, they do this. And who's on top of that that's going to teach them that? Slackers. Okay, that is my experience. It's the slackers. It's the people who are not paying attention. These days, it's the people who are sitting there texting somebody in their mind. They might actually have their phone and texting behind, going behind whenever a chance they get, put in their pocket, take it out and text real sneakily, and they're not paying attention to what they're doing. And who has to pay for the price? The customer. Okay, that's wrong. The customer should not have to pay. So the management needs to know these are the people who do this. These are the people to fire and replace with people who actually want to work when they're at work. Okay? Okay, now maybe he'll stop for a little while. But like I said, my experience in life is the people that start this kind of thing and keep it going are the slackers. Okay, they just go to work and they work whenever they feel like it. They want that paycheck. But no, they don't have to work that hard. They're the kind that are still rebels as grown adults. They still act like they're in high school. And then they just have their followers. And people they've taught, this is how it is, this is the way it should be. And like I said, the whole mantra mentality behind it and us against them kind of thing. These are people who are going to do this and they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't. Like there's some written rule other than by themselves that, the whole little collective group, that it's a written rule. It's common sense is what they often use. They often say common sense when, no, just because you and your group think it, that doesn't make it common sense. There are other people out there that might not agree with it, especially if it's illogical, especially if it's based on just what you want it to be and not what it really should be. Now, should you go to a restaurant, say you are driving somewhere on a trip and you go to a restaurant and then you get an order and it's something you're allergic to. Okay, is that right? It doesn't even matter if it's not something you're allergic to. You don't just have to take it. Okay, and the mentality is people who are slackers, like I say, they think everybody should just follow their lead and just take it. That's how they're going to be. That's, little rebels, we're going to be this way, and you're just going to have to take it. No. This is the type that needs to lose their job. So somebody who actually wants to work, to make their money, to do a good job, and to help the company that they work for, all of that rolls around the same thing. And the customer doesn't have to pay for their texting somebody else in their minds. Seriously. Okay, now this is the same type I've seen in my life, especially these days, that whole thing, it's us against them type. And then the same type, some of them, whenever they want something, they'll say, we're all in this together. Okay, during this time, we're all in this together. But then let's go behind closed doors when it's when it's our turn and just be with our own herd. Okay, they call it herd mentality, their own collective narcissistic group. Yeah, let's go behind doors on that. But we're all in this together. They still have that on top of everything. I mean, on everything. As long as they're included in stuff, yes, okay. But whenever they can exclude themselves, that they can separate themselves and be us against them, yeah, they'll do that too. They won't invite anybody from outside in. And that's how it is. It's an exclusive group of people who are slackers and don't want to do but part of the job. And then their followers, the people that are blindsided by them, not aware of what they're doing and probably wouldn't care, okay, because that's what they've been taught. That's all they've heard all their life, and they've heard it's common sense. It's not common sense. Yeah, it's a collective narcissism. So, no, that's two different things. Okay, and the bad thing is at this time, these places really do need customers. During this pandemic, today is May 7th, 2020, and they do need the customers. And having that same kind of mentality that just throw it off on the customers, it's your fault, it's your problem, we're not going to deliver it to you, even though we have a delivery service, but hey, you just have to roll with it. Whatever happens, whatever we do, you just have to take it. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. These days, these places, they need their customers, okay? And their management and their management's going to catch on from the corporate office. Yeah, because some of these people say, hey, I know calling the management, all I'm going to get is this kind of mentality. And I'm calling the corporate office, going straight to the big ones. Skip even the district managers. And these corporations need this money. So that kind of life, that's the thing that's changed. It's the thing of the past. It's not the thing of the present and the future. Not anytime near. Okay, so people want their jobs. They want to get jobs. They want to go back to work. You're going to have to learn a new game to play. It's not going to be all about you and you slacking and whenever you feel like it, whatever else you want to be doing and then blame it on the customer. Not going to work anymore. It's just not. Okay. But I'm sure, some of them are going to try it for a while and just keep blaming the customer somehow. And they'll see that they're out of a job. So, it's something to think about. This is my opinion. How do you see it? How you see it? It's how you see it. How I see it, it's how I see it. Remember, we all have freedom of thought. So, yeah, think about it. Someone thought I was going to say freedom of speech. It depends. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up.